Now, what can you learn from my laser talent assessment tool? Well, first of all, it's a four-factor tool. In fact, most of them are, and they all trace their roots back to someone you've probably heard of, Hippocrates, the physician's oath. And then about 600 years later, a Roman physician, Galen, picked up on Hippocrates' work and refined it quite a bit. So it's four-factor, and here's how it lays out. There's my captain. That's the action. Those are the talents for being action-oriented, taking charge, pursuing opportunity, practicing independence, and being in control. Those are the captain tendencies. Now, what are the cheerleader tendencies? Well, that's all about socialization, fun, harmony, variety, change, relationships. Then we have the stabilizer. This would be constancy, consistency, routine, dependability, predictability. Already I have told you these are my two highest, with this being the highest, so begin to see that I like to have fun, but I like to have it my way. Stabilizer, well, that's low, that's consistency, so I may not be very predictable. I certainly don't have routines. And then the final one, server, that's all about service, quality, perfection, formality, being right, creativity, and details. And I've got a little bit of that. It's a little service thing. I can produce quality, but maybe I'm creative. I have my days a little bit stronger than up here, but once again, these are my primary. But here's what I want you to know right now. Don't say you're a captain, although I know you will, as everyone does. I've done this with thousands of people, and they all say, I'm a captain, or I'm a cheerleader, or I'm a stabilizer. And usually right after I've told them, don't say that. What you can say, though, because there is an interaction here between the four, if you follow what I'm saying, then there is an interaction. So in my particular case, my primary driver is my cheerleader. And that makes it easy for me to get lost in having fun and developing relationships. But the captain is just strong enough so that it can push me to action and force me to make a decision. Though I will say that because relationships are so important to me, it can be hard to make a tough decision and if an issue of difficult order. Now, the stabilizer here, this is where I have trouble. That would be consistency. That would be dependability. I'm dependable. I show up wherever I say I'm going to go, but I'm not terribly predictable. I'm certainly not routine. And I am very flexible. That's part of being a cheerleader, flexibility. So I can give up routines pretty easily. And then there is the server here. That's service, quality, perfection. That's strong enough to remind me that I really do need to put other people first once in a while. And I do have to be sure that if I'm not looking after the details, at least somebody is. And I can produce quality, but I can tell you it doesn't come naturally, and it takes me a lot of redos to get quality in any project, even the ones that I'm good at and enjoy doing. Well, then you're going to get four charts that look something like this. Now, to make it easy, I'll explain to you that if you looked at all four charts, you'd say, yeah, I got a few things from every chart, but we've got to look at our primary drivers, you see. So we know that mine is cheerleader. So what do I find whenever I look at my chart? Well, first of all, I end up checking them all. They're all true of me. I do accept change, and I adjust well. I do like to help others grow. I like to have fun. I like hospitality. I like negotiation. In fact, I'm so committed to win-win that if I'm working with you and I have negotiated a win-win and later I need you to negotiate with me and you don't, it actually makes me angry. It makes me want to hurt you. It's actually one of the dark sides of that particular talent. And as I said, I've got a few of the captain here, so I can face competition. I don't mind leading out, but what I don't have so much is staying focused. I see the big picture, but I do miss the details, which are over here. But anyway, you go to your top one or maybe your top two. check the ones that are true of you and complete the exercises, and that will bring you to a little better understanding of what your natural personality is. Now let me show you a little picture using myself as an example here. This is a picture of me, you see. And this is produced by my online, very technical, interactive, much more accurate personality assessment that I will be offering you the opportunity to take at some point in this series. And I hope you will, because you'll learn so much more about yourself. But here's what I want you to see. Notice that high cheerleader. And what this is me compared to a situation in my job where you probably can see that this was the job at the time. The job wasn't permanently this way, but the state of the company had gotten to be such that I needed this more of a focus. I needed to be a little less interested in being the boss and a little more interested in being cooperative, a little less interested in socializing and a little more focused on nose to the grindstone, a little less intolerant of details and a little more tolerant of routine and consistency, and quite a bit less, quite a bit more focused on quality and getting it right, more than what came natural to me. Let me show you what happened. In essence, you see, the job wanted me to slow down and think before I acted. Here's kind of where I was. Just don't rush to decisions quite as much. Well, what would be the result of me doing that? Well, to be honest with you, stress. Anytime you have to work outside your natural personality, you're going to get some stress. Well, that wasn't all. The job wanted me to be less social and more focused. What would be the result of my efforts? Well, stress. Quite a bit of stress. The job wanted me to slow down and take one step at a time. Here I am rushing from one thing to the next. The job is saying, slow down, finish something, be focused, be a little more consistent. Well, the result of that, stress. And finally, the job wanted me to reach for perfection, make quality and getting it right a little bit more of my personal concern. And once again, not my natural personality. The result, stress. Now, let me explain something to you. You've got 3 or 4 different size stress things here, and usually I say, well, what do you think the biggest problem was? Be this. Okay, in terms of volume, though, that's not exactly correct. In terms of stress impact on my ability to feel good, that's not really the biggest problem, because not all stress is created equal. Sure, there's a big gap here, and it's a stress-related gap, but it turns out that this stress of toning down my socialization, or if it was going the other way, becoming more social, that turns out to be the easiest kind of stress to deal with. In fact, I believe the Dale Carnegie organization has been very successful for decades now, taking people who aren't really social and outgoing and teaching them to be more social and outgoing, or as I like to say, taking people who don't like people and teaching them how to pretend that they do. But there's still stress, you see. And if that was my only stress, it probably would never be a problem. But you see, I could tone down the socialization. I could be more quiet. But you see, that's not my only source of stress. This is the easiest to deal with, though. If you really want to know, that one wouldn't cause me too much trouble by itself. But let's go look at this one. This is the second easiest to deal with. Tone down my desire to be in charge and be willing to listen and take direction a little bit more. Some stress there, but still manageable. We get over to this side, however, and this is where it starts to get difficult. You see, not only is this one of the bigger stress areas, it happens to be the most impactful kind of stress of all the stressors you can have. This one really hurts. This one, as you'll see in a minute, can lead you into heart attack country. This one is almost impossible to deal with. And this one is not impossible, but very difficult. See, I could probably handle this change. I could probably up my commitment to quality and perfection and focusing on getting it right if I didn't have these other stressors. But altogether, it was a very stressful situation, and I must tell you, it didn't end well. Well, here's why. See my cheerleader stress? This is designed to give you a relative picture of stress. A relative picture. There's anecdotal experience behind these numbers, but it's just designed to show you the relative impact of stress. The 2 here means there is some stress in dealing with cheerleader strengths and weaknesses, but it's not major. There's more stress here, and if you got a lot of issues here, this could get to be a problem, but this is doable. This is third, you see, and this is moving up the stress ladder. It is doable, and it's within the realm of possibility in relative terms. If this is a 2, then this is a 5, and this is an 8. But look at this. The stabilizer, becoming more or less consistency-oriented, is the toughest thing of all. In fact, over in this area, I would basically say, if you got your cheerleader things to deal with, and as long as it's not more than about 70, maybe 60% of your time, it's not too bad. You can do that. If you've got to act like a captain or less like a captain, no more than 30 or 40% of your time, then you can probably do that. If you've got to be more server quality, service oriented than what you naturally are, man, if that goes above about 30 to 40% of your time, then you're headed towards heart attack country. But this one right here, folks, if you have to deal with consistency and routine, and you're a variety-loving, flexible individual, and it gets to be more than 10% of your time, the higher above that 10% it gets, the tougher it's going to be, and you're in heart attack country here. You're in heart attack country here. Stay away from that if you can. Be a little more specific. You see, one of the things I can do in my test is test not only how I really am, but how I'm expected to be. So this shows a significant change in attitude towards paperwork, documentation, compliance monitoring, and compliance auditing, organizational skills, taking care of the assets, budget monitoring and controlling, handling staffing and scheduling. See, here's the thing. This is the tough stuff. If my job was made up of a lot of this stuff, forget it. My thinking of forms make my eyes go crosswise. What comes naturally to me is to be in a decision-making capacity, to be in charge, and to be out in the public. And these are the areas where the job seemed to want me to cut back, you see. But up here they wanted me to be more, and I can tell you that, man, I think I had to get out of that job simply because of these things up here. It's what I needed to be at that point in time. I wouldn't have had to be that way forever, but I had underestimated that I did need to do it. I found out something important. I could delegate most of the paperwork, but I couldn't delegate the obligation to keep an eye on it. See over here, this is a slightly different stress scale. You see my green line here. The stress of the change to the right of the green line is really heart attack country. And knowing that in the future, I would definitely want to stay away from those kinds of jobs. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you.